Anyway, so let's talk about a few use cases where a degree might be helpful. I mean, because we've sort of said, it's a tool. Okay, so when should you use the tool? I think, and so we did say one thing, which is if it helps you be useful on day one, if it helps you be to demonstrate high engagement on the job, and if you need a degree to do that, if you feel like that's kind of who you are, whatever, that's a great use case. There's another use case, which is if you want to be a vice president like a senior decision maker, right? Because I know in the banking industry, they give out the vice president title pretty easily, right? So, but I'm talking about somebody with senior decision making authority, or if you want to be a chief information security officer or something like that, you're going to need a master's degree, generally speaking, right? And by the way, if you're going to do this in a mainstream company, which is to say a non-technical company, then your master's degree should probably not be in a technical field. What I know is that you're going to want to get like more of a business degree or an MBA or something like that. And I think that's where a college degree is really going to make a difference in your career. And if you're in a tech company, then yeah, maybe, a master's degree in computer science, computer engineering, something like that. But notice how I didn't say cybersecurity as a degree area focus, right, Jason?
Yes, and this is one of the areas that I get a little frustrated with. I guess probably the best way to put it. And just I guess open kimono backstory here is I've been a college professor. I've done it at the associate level at the community college. I've done it at the bachelor's level, and I've done it at the master's level. And I've taught for different programs, whether they were computer science, information technology, or cybersecurity. The master's program I taught in, I was in the cybersecurity area underneath the College of Engineering and Computer Sciences, and it was a master's of computer science degree. And one of the things that I found just ultimately frustrating for me was I was dealing with a lot of people who come in and they're thinking, I'm going to get this master's in cybersecurity and I'm going to be able to walk into a job making $100,000 a year. And routinely, I was seeing people, they would graduate, they've just done this 2-year master's program, they spent, $30,000, $40,000 on tuition, and nobody wants to hire them. And it's like, well, why? I have my master's degree. Why don't they want to hire me? Well, because a lot of the students were coming in for that master's program straight out of college, which was straight out of high school. And so they're now 22, 23, 24 years old. They've got a bachelor's and a master's in IT and cybersecurity, and nobody wants to hire them. Why? Because they're missing that key component, which is experience. And this is
Right.
why a lot of times I tell students that, if you're going to go get your bachelor's degree out of high school, that's fine. But I wouldn't go to the master's if your goal is cybersecurity. I think getting to the bachelor's level, getting into a position, start working, and there's plenty of programs that you can do a 2-year master's degree in your nights and weekends, and get that later on. But the problem is, if you have a master's degree and zero experience, what a lot of employers and hiring managers are seeing is this person is going to cost me a lot and they don't bring me enough value because they don't have the experience yet. And so
Right.
that becomes a blocker where you almost overqualify yourself for the positions you need to be in. Whereas if you have that bachelor's degree, I think that's the right level if you're trying to make an entrance, especially in the government world. We've talked about this before. I come from the government DoD background. The
Mhm.
government has a lot of programs for if you have a bachelor's degree, you can get hired into a government job in cybersecurity as a GS9 or a GS11 coming out of your bachelor's degree as part of their internship programs. And being able to do that, that becomes your ticket into one of those programs to then get the experience. And they'll hire you without experience if you have a degree. But again, there's a lot less opportunity if you have a master's to do those things because you're now kind of
Yeah.
overqualified for that internship program.
Yeah, and I can't tell you how many people have gone off to get a master's in cybersecurity because they were changing careers. Maybe they were in IT and now they want to be in cybersecurity. They already had a bachelor's degree, and they just sort of knee jerk reaction had this thought, "Oh, I'll just go get a master's degree, and then all of a sudden I'll get hired." And that hardly ever works, at least in the private sector. That hardly ever works. And I've seen some very mopey people who can't understand why they can't get into cybersecurity. And I explained to them, hey, you need to be able to have some hands-on capabilities. And so that's like the last thing they want to hear, which is unfortunate because it's the truth. And they're just kind of demoralized because they just spent a ton of time and money going to school. They have to work again. They don't have time to go take a $15 an hour help desk job, to build back up into cybersecurity, which you and I both know that's not what they have to do either. But
Yep.
these are just some of the common thoughts that people have, when they find themselves in situations. So